So now we will discuss about the upstream open reading frames. Upstream open reading frames are actually uh, they are actually a type of open reading frame, right? Which are located within the 5' untranslated region of an mRNA. I have discussed about the upstream open reading frame in previous videos as well as during the when we were talking about the translation process. So these upstream open reading frames can regulate your eukaryotic gene expression. Translation of upstream open reading frames typically inhibits the downstream open reading frame. So if this is your mRNA and this is your poly A tail, and this is your cap 5' 3'. Okay, so let me write. So this is the 5' cap, this is the poly A tail, and this is your main open reading frame. Okay, which starts from the AUG, and there is a stop codon also, which is UAG, UGA, and UAA. Then there is a 3' UTR and a 5' UTR. Now within this 5' UTR there are specific regions called UORFs. Okay, so within this 5' UTR there are specific region called UORF. I'm shading this for making you a clear view if possible. So this is your upstream open reading frame region. I have shown you 3 here. Okay, there may be more than 3. So this upstream open reading frame, it is located in the within the 5' untranslated region of an mRNA, and the upstream open reading frame can regulate your eukaryotic gene expression. Okay, it normally, this upstream open reading frame normally will prevent the expression of the main downstream open reading frame. The main primary open reading frame, which is here, it prevents that open reading frame, thereby inhibiting the translation process. Okay, now approximately 50% of human genes contain this type of upstream open reading frame in their 5' UTR, means untranslated region, and when present they causes reduction in the protein expression. So this upstream open reading frame normally causes reduction of the protein formation. Okay, protein expression, it prevents the protein expression. Now since ribosomes of eukaryotes scan that mRNA from the 5 prime in, from the beginning your ribosomes will scan the mRNA. So the upstream open reading frame can modulate your translational efficiency of the main open reading frame downstream. So this is the function of upstream open reading frame. It will prevent it will reduce the efficiency of the main open reading frame. Okay, best example of this upstream open reading frame is your gene known as GCN4. GCN4. I will talk to you now. Okay, so let me get into this. Okay, so here we can see GCN4 open reading frame. Here you can see the mRNA having that main open reading frame for the GCN4, and upstream to this there are some upstream open reading frame which are getting observed here. Here it shows UORF1 up to UORF4. The 2, 3 has not been shown. UORF2 and 3 has not been shown. That means there are here 4 upstream open reading frames. So let us talk to this in detail, what they are talking about. Then I will zoom into it and focus on to it. Okay, so GCN4, as you have seen here, the name comes. GCN4 is a yeast transcriptional activator protein. GCN4 is a yeast transcriptional activator protein. It can regulate the expression of those genes that encodes enzyme needed for amino acid biosynthesis. GCN4 are transcriptional activator proteins. GCN4 will regulate the expression of those genes which are needed, which will encode further enzymes needed for amino acid biosynthesis. Okay, so if I talk to you this, let me erase this thing. Okay, so GCN4, sorry for that, GCN4 is a transcriptional activator protein. It will what? It will regulate the expression of those genes that are needed for the expression of these genes. Will encode some enzymes. This gene will encode some enzymes which will further helps in the amino acid biosynthesis. Okay, so GCN4 is a transcriptional activator protein. It regulates the expression of those genes which need for which will encode some enzymes that are needed for your amino acid biosynthesis. Now suppose there is low amino acids. Suppose there is very low amino acid, then GCN4 mRNA has to be expressed. If there is low amino acid, then this GCN4 mRNA has to be expressed, right? It has to be expressed, and it will direct the synthesis of those enzymes. GCN4 will further direct the synthesis of those enzymes which are needed for the amino acid biosynthesis. Now when the level of amino acid is high, suppose the level of amino acid is quite high, this was in the case when level of amino acid was low. The figure that you can see here, it shows starvation condition. At the extreme above you can see it is written starvation conditions. So in starvation conditions means the level of amino acid is quite low. So when the level of amino acid is quite low, then GCN4 mRNA has to be expressed. The open reading frame for the GCN4 has to be expressed so that it will direct the synthesis of those enzymes which are needed for the biosynthesis of amino acid. But if suppose if the level of amino acid is normal, okay, when the level of amino acid is quite high, then GCN4 mRNA will not required to be expressed. So GCN4 itself is regulated by the help of this UORF that you can see here. Okay, now you can see here the mRNA of the GCN4. Total mRNA has not been shown. It has not shown the cap, it has not shown the tail, right? It has only shown the UORF region, which is a part of 5' UTR, and the main open reading frame that codes GCN4. So the mRNA that encodes GCN4 protein has 4 small open reading frame. Here the 4 small open reading frame has not been shown. Only the UORF1 and UORF4 has been shown. The rest of the 2 open reading frame are same, UORF2 and 3. Okay, this UORF, the upstream open reading frame, is located on the upstream, that is 5' of the end of the mRNA. I have already said that upstream open reading frame are located on the 5' untranslated region, okay, of the mRNA that encodes GCN4 protein. Now under conditions of amino acid starvation, what happened? This GCN4 has to be expressed. How it is expressed? Let us see. This is the starvation condition. You can see here clearly. So under condition of amino acid starvation, this EIF2 getting phosphorylated. See the EIF2. What is EIF2? Try to link them with the translation process. EIF2 is a initiator of translation in eukaryotes, and we are talking about yeast. It is also a eukaryote. So EIF2 under such when there is low amino acid, EIF2 will be phosphorylated as shown here, and thus EIF2 is modified. It reduces the binding affinity with the ribosome. It cannot bind with the ribosome now, and also under those conditions there will be changed less charged initiator tRNA available. The tRNA met, which is your initiator tRNA coding for methionine, will be less available because there is low amino acid now. That's why. So when EIF2 is modified due to phosphorylation under amino acid starvation, it reduces the affinity to bind with the small ribosomal subunit. and thus under those conditions there will be less tRNA charged tRNA, that means tRNA attached with amino acid with methionine. That initiator tRNA will be less available, right? Very less available. So when the amino acid are scarce, the ribosome that resumes scanning after translation of UORF1 passes through UORF2, 3, 4 before rebinding of initiator tRNA with EIF2. So during amino acid starvation, the ribosome which get assembled and started transcription of the UORF upstream open reading frame, it quickly moves from UORF1 and it moves to the 2, 3, 4 very quickly it goes, okay, because the transcription factors, the transcription complex, there is less charge tRNA available, there is less charge initiator tRNA available, and the EIF2 has become phosphorylated. So the ribosome resumes scanning after translation of UORF1, passes directly to the UORF2, 3, 4 before rebinding to the initiator tRNA with EIF2. So it quickly pass, the small ribosomal subunit quickly pass, so that to got up into the main open reading frame. Okay, but one main important thing, the upstream open reading frame also have a start codon, while your main primary open reading frame that will code for GCN4 will also have a start codon. It is much farther downstream. So there is sufficient time for the ribosome to bind with the EIF2 initiator tRNA complex to the main open reading frame. Okay, before reaching to the main open reading frame, this there will be sufficient time to get a initiator tRNA, okay, to bind with the EIF2 before reaching to the main open reading frame. So when there is less tRNA, when there is less amino acid available, then EIF2 get phosphorylated, which will reduce the binding affinity with the ribosome. Also there is less tRNA, charged tRNA available, or initiator tRNA is also unavailable, less, not fully unavailable, it is less unavailable. Thus the ribosome that have started to do translation from UORF1 quickly passes, it doesn't assembles also, okay, to the next open reading frame 2, 3, 4, and then quickly goes to the main open reading frame, where it will associate with the initiator tRNA if present with the EIF2. Thus GCN4 is prepared by translation of the main open reading frame. This GCN4 will further trigger the synthesis of those genes which are needed for amino acid biosynthesis. This was in case of if amino acid is less available. What will happen if amino acid is sufficiently available? EIF2 will not get phosphorylated, right? It will bind to the small subunit. There is more initiator tRNA available which is charged with methionine, and thus they will resume to do translation on this upstream open reading frame. It will start translation of UORF1, UORF2, UORF3, and UORF4. But the main problem occurs after UORF4. The ribosome then get dissociated from the mRNA. It fails to translate the main open reading frame of GCN4. Thus no GCN4 protein will be made during when amino acid is plenty, okay, but when amino acid is very less, then EIF2 getting phosphorylated, it will be then it will not able to efficiently bind with the small subunit, and EIF2 have a main function of positioning that initiator tRNA to the A site of the P site of the ribosome, where it will interact with the start codon of the mRNA. also there is less initiated tRNA available. So what will happen, the ribosome quickly moves away, it will quickly moves from URF1 to URF4, and it goes to the main open reading frame of GCN4, where it will if present less available initiated tRNA is there. By that time initiated tRNA binds with your EIF2 to form a complex and will interact with the small subunit to form that 48S pre-initiation complex, and thus GCN4 will be translated to form GCN protein, which will further um, which will further switch on those genes which are needed for amino acid synthesis in the cell. But the same thing will not occur if when amino acid is plenty. When amino acid is plenty, AIF2 is not phosphorylated, so it binds quickly to the small subunit position that initiated tRNA, because the amino acids are available. So why not the initiated tRNA will be available? It will be also available, and thus the ribosome will continue to do translation of these upstream open reading frames. But the strange thing occur here that after translation of the upstream open reading frame, ribosome get dissociated from the mRNA, so it could not able to, or failed to translate that GCN4 open reading frame. So no GCN4 protein is made. Okay, so this was about the upstream open reading frame, and this is the so this was end of this regulation of gene expression in eukaryotes.